This is exercise 609, percentage change. Now, there are two ways of doing this, and I'll demonstrate both methods, but then I want to stick with one method after that, which is the quick method. So it says if Australia's population at the start of last year was 21 million, 435,680, what is the population this year? If it increased by 1.2%, there are two ways of doing it. You can work out 1.2% of 21,435,680 and get an answer. So with this first method, you have to use two steps to do it, okay? So can someone work that out? Now, you can't do the 1.2% on your calculator because it immediately gives you an error. So remember, that's 1.2 divided by 100 times 21,435,680. Can I have an answer, please? Remember, for 1.2%, you'll do 1.2 over 100. So what do we get, girls? Anyone? I'm getting 257,228.16. I'm not going to put the 0.16 because that's to the nearest whole number, of course, whole people. So that's the increase. That's how much it's increased by. So therefore, the population, the new population, will be the 21,435,680 plus the 257,228. Does anyone have an answer for that, please? 21,692,908. All right. Now, 0.16, but we're not going to put the 0.16 in because, you know, the rounding. I know I had 0.16 there, but I'm just crossing it off, all right, because I just want it to the nearest whole number, which it is. Now, that's one method of doing it. That's the way you learnt in Year 8. There is a quicker method. If we consider the original population to be 100%, and now the population is increasing by 1.2%, the new population will be 101.2% of the original population. And all we need to do now is multiply one number. And we don't have to get an answer and add it on. I know you've got to add it here. 100 plus 1.2 is 101.2. But it's much easier to add those two numbers than to add these numbers. So if I'm increasing by 1.2%, I add 1.2% to 100%. You don't do that on your calculator. You just do it in your head. Or you just go 100 plus 1.2, 101.2%. So the new population will be, so the new population, if we've got 100% plus 1.2%, our new population is 101.2% of what it originally was. So it'll be 101.2% of 21 million, etc., which is 101.2 divided by 100 times that 21 million, etc., which should be 21,692,908. You're going to have the 0.16 there, do you? And then they want it to the nearest whole number, so you round off that to 21,692,908. Okay? Now, question 5 from the exercise 6.09, it says the value of Lisa's computer depreciated or decreased by 9% each year, by this year, sorry. If its value last year was $2,410, state its current value. We'll do old method and new method. But this is the last time I'm doing old method. So how would you normally have done this? What would you do? You'd work out how would you normally do it? The way we would have done this in the past is we would have worked out 9% of the 2,410, and what do we get? Remember, that's 9 over 100 times 2,410. So in other words, it's gone down by 216.9. That's $216.90. So therefore, the current value, how do I do this? What do I do? 2,410 minus the $216.90. And what do I get? 2,000. So when we subtract that, we get 2,193.1. This is money, so put a 0 on the end and a dollar sign at the front would be good. That is the current value. Now, if you look back at the first question, we added 1.2% because it was an increase of 1.2%. What do you think I will do this? It's a decrease. So I just go 100% minus 9% is 91%. And so the current value will be 91% of the 2410. And you will get the answer straight away. So, you know, some people don't even write out 100% minus 9% is 91%. They just go straight to the second line and write 91% of 2,410. Because if you're starting off with 100% and it's decreasing by 9%, you've obviously left with 91%. So this answer should also be $2,193.10. Clara's Toy Shop increased the price of all toys by 8% due to manufacturer's price rise, but they later offered the discount of 5%. Please do not do, it's gone up 8% and it's gone down 5%. I'm going to save time and do one calculation of 3%. That is incorrect. You do not do that because, so you have to do it separately. You need to do the 8% rise first, get an answer, and then do the 5% discount next on that first answer, because you're not finding 5% of the original amount, you're finding 5% of the new amount, but 8% of the original amount. So let's do the first bit. We've got increase by 8%. How do I do that in one step? 100% plus 8% is what? 108%. So therefore, I'm going to do 108% of what was the original price. So Clara's Toy Shop increased the price of all toys by 8% due to a manufacturer's pay rise. In other words, the manufacturer increased the price. Clara had a sale later that year in which she offered a discount of 5% on all items. For a doll's house originally marked at $285, calculate the price rise after the 8% rise. So it'll be 108% of what? Of? What's the original price? And can I have an answer, please? $307. Is it 08 or 80? 80. Good. Part B. So that's your increase of 8%. Now, just because this is 108%, you don't do 108% minus 5%. This is your new starting value, the $307.80. Now I need to decrease that amount by 5%. So I just go 100% minus 5%. See, my original 100% is the $285. Now I've got a new price. That's my new 100%, all right? I now need to decrease this price by 5%. So I do 100% minus 5% is 95%. So I do 95% of $307.80. Are we okay with this? Your alternative is to do 8% of the original one, add it on, get your price, then do 5% of that and then subtract it. But it's quicker. To do 100 minus 5 is 95%. 95% of $307.80. Can I have an answer? Part B says the sale price after the discount. The discount is now 5% on this $307.80. So if I want a 5% discount, I go 100 minus 5 is 95. So 95%. The new discounted price will be 95% of the $307.80. So 95% of $307.80 is, that's better, $292. Exactly. 0.41. Great. Now, part C. We might think that an increase of 8% followed by a decrease in 5% is an overall increase of 3%, but it's not. It'll be very close to 3%, but it won't be exactly 3%. We're actually going to work out the overall price change and the percentage change. So let's look at the overall price change. What was the price change? What was the final price? What was the final price? $292.41. What was the original? So work out that price change of $292.41 minus $285. It looks like $7.41 to me. Now, that's how much the price did end up going up after all, but by $7.41. How do I work out the percentage change on the original price? The price change is that there was an overall increase of $7.41. I now want the percentage change on the original price. So it's the change over the original. To change it to a percentage, you times by 100. So the overall percentage change is $7.41 was the change over the original price, $2.85 times 100%. Now you're going to find that this answer will be very close to 3%, and I've just been told that it's 2.6, exactly 2.6, 2.6% increase. So this is definitely not up 8, down 5 equals 3. All right? As I said, the answer's closer to 3%. The reason it's smaller than 3% is you're increasing by 8% on a smaller amount, but you're decreasing the 5% on a bigger amount. So the 5% is sort of like a bit bigger than the equivalent 5% in the original one. That's why you're slightly smaller than 3%. All right, now question 11. What percentage change is equivalent to an increase of 20% followed by a decrease of 20%? Do not tell me the price does not change. Problem here is we don't have a starting amount, but you can make one up, and what would a really good amount to start with be? I'd start with $100. So, yes. If you increase by 20%, the reason using 100 is really good, I'm going to go 100% plus 20% is 120%. Actually, look, I don't have to do $100. Let me choose any amount. Doesn't matter what I do. So I'm going to have 120% of my original amount. If I choose, so I'm going to do 120% of, look, I'm going to do an amount apart from 100 because I'll show you what to do if it's not 100. If I do put 100 here, I'm going to get $120. It's nice to do. There's less steps if I do. Do you want me to do 100? Yeah. So, you know what I'll do? I'll do part A with 100 and I'll do part B with a different amount. All right, I'll see. 120% of 100, can someone work that out? 120. It's actually $120. That's my 20% increase. Now so that's part 1. Part 2 is my 20% decrease. How do I do a 20% decrease? 100% minus 20% is 80%. So I do 80% of what? What did I do before, girls? Girls, if you increase, so I'm starting with, in this question, I'm going to start with $100. I increase $100 by 20%, I get $120. I now want to decrease that $120 by 20%. So I do 80% times what? Times what? Not 100. 120. Yeah. $96. Which is $96. So girls, I started off with $100 and now I've finished off with $96. So what's my overall? It says what is the percentage change? How much did it change by overall, girls? You know what? See these bits? I think they can be a bit confusing. I put those bits in brackets. When I look at this, I can see how it can be confusing for you. You know this 100% plus 20% business? Sometimes it's best to do that in your head and then just write 120% of $100 and get the $120. And see this 100% minus 20% is 80%? When you look at the page like this, it's quite messy. Like there's too much there. I would then, this bit in brackets is what's in my head. I would then just do 80% of the 120. That's showing I'm reducing the 120 by 20%. When you multiply something by 80%, you're reducing it by 20%, and I get 96. So what is my overall change? I started with $100. What is it? Overall change is $4. 100 minus 96 is $4. I want the percentage change. So what do I put? $4 over what was my original amount? 100 times 100%. See, actually, using the 100% can actually confuse you. I think it does. Too many hundreds flying around. All right? Yeah, I'm going to definitely do it with another number because, look, if you just do it 4 over 100 times 100%, that's a 4% decrease. Now, the good thing, look, there's good and bad about using the $100. I'll show you the good. The good is, there's your answer. You started with 100, you've ended up with 96. That's 4 out of 100 less. That's 4%. It dropped by 4. So if you can use the 100%, the $100 method, when you get this 96 and you started with 100, that's 4 out of 100. That's 4%. I even don't need to do 4 out of 100 times 100. 4 out of 100 is. Remember in year 8, we teach you 4% means 4 out of 100? That 4 out of 100 is already 4%. That's the good thing about using. See, I started with 100 and I ended up with 96. I've dropped by $4 out of 100. That's 4% decrease. That's the good thing about using 100. But there's so many hundreds flying around that you could get confused. All right? There is another way of using x's and algebra, but a lot of people don't like the algebra. I'll show you algebra now. For the lovers of algebra, here we go. Girls, if the original amount, I'm going to do it now with algebra, and then over the back, I will do part B, a couple of different methods as well. So if the original value, you know, if we don't know what something is, we always let it equal x. Okay? Now, I want to increase by 20%. You might like this method. If I increase by 20%, don't I do 120% of x is? Now, 120% means 120 over 100, which is 1.2. 1.2 times x is 1.2x. Got it? Now, the next part of the question. So that bit is increased by 20. My next bit is to decrease by 20%. If you decrease by 20%, what do you multiply by? So this bit that I first did was increase by 20%. That's what I just did. I'm going to zoom this in. The next bit I'm going to do is decrease. You know, my downward arrow obviously means decrease. Decrease by 20%. That it means I do 80% of the 1.2x, right? You might not like this method, I don't know. 80% is 80 over 100, which is 0.8. Can I write it as 0.8? 0.8 times 1.2x. Now, can someone tell me what 0.8 times 1.2 is? It should be 0.96. 0.96x. Well, girls, 0.96 is the percentage, 96%. So, it started off, original value was 1x. The final value is 0.96x. So, therefore, the change is 1x minus 0.96x, which is 0.04x. You're probably not really liking this. Wait, 0.04 is the same as 4% or 4 over 100. One sec. 0.04x is 4 over 100x, which is 4% of x. So that's a 4% decrease, and I'd say a lot of people wouldn't like this. Girls, what I've just done is part A starting with $100, part A starting with x. Part A is to increase by 20% followed by decrease by 20%. So, you know, unless you're an algebra freak, lover of algebra, you don't go the second method. All right? Right, I'll do another method. Yes. Question A, take 3. Starting with a different number. Remember, we're going to increase by 20% and then we're going to decrease by 20%. That's what we're doing, right? So let's start with, anyone? Someone said $50. All right, let's go. Increase by 20%, what do you multiply by? You multiply by 120% of 50. All right, that's part 1. So I'm doing increase by 20% in brackets. I'm doing it there. How do I do that? I say 100 plus 20 is 120%. times it by the 50. 120 over 100 times 50, $60. Great. Next part, decrease by 20%. How do you decrease by 20%? What do you multiply by? Hello? If you want to decrease by 20%, what do you multiply by? 80%. 80% of $60, I'd say that would be $48. Right. Okay, girls, what was the original price? All right, what is the change in price? 50 minus 48, $2. Girls, that's $2 out of 50 to go percentage. Some of you should already be thinking 2 out of 50 is the same as 4 out of 100, equivalent fractions. So the percentage change is the $2 out of the 50, times it by 100% if you want. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And you get 4%. Okay? So that is question A done 3 ways. It'll be the same because you're decreasing a different amount by 20 and increasing a different amount by 20. There's what? No, you're going to get a different answer to the first one. Pretty sure. All right, let's start. What do you want to start with? Start with what? No X's. 50 or $100? 100. All right, 100. Okay, we're going to decrease by 20%. So just in here, decrease by 20%. I'm thinking. What do I multiply by? Hello? Decrease first. 80% of 100 is, you know the beauty about 80% of 100? It's just 80. Because it's 80 over 100 times 80, it's $80. Next thing is an increase by 20%. When you want to increase by 20%, what do you multiply by? 120% times what? Times what? Increase by 20%, 120% of 80 is $96. Is that right? Yes. Because, sorry, I was assuming and I was wrong because I assumed. Which, like I said, the good thing about starting with $100, you started with 100, you've ended up with 96, you've dropped $4 out of 100, which is 4%. Can you see that? Therefore, you've dropped $4 out of 100. Now, anything out of 100 is a percentage. So therefore, we've got a 4% decrease overall. You don't even have to go 4 over 100 times 100. All right? That's if you start with 100. If you don't want to, you can start with $20, $50. I don't care, whatever you start with. $50. Let's go. Decrease by 20%. Do I need to do this one now or you're okay? All right, I'll just do it quickly. 80% of 50, I think that's $40. And then we're going to increase by 20%. That's 120% of the $40. That's $48. You know how? So you know 12 fours are 48. So therefore you've dropped or you've changed by $2. So therefore the percentage change is $2 out of 48. No. $2 out of 50 times 100%, which is 4%. 4% drop. Or 4% decrease. Now, I know you don't have this last one on your sheet, but they asked you to increase or decrease by 3 percentages in a row. I'm going to do a quick example. Increase $100 by 5%, then by 5%, and then by 5% again. Okay, ladies, last question. Increase $100 by 5%, then 5%, then 5%. You can do it all in one step. You want to watch? Start off with $100. If you want to increase by 5%, what do you times it by? 105%. If you want to increase that by 5%, My last question is to increase $100 by 5%, then by another 5%, and then by 5% again. So that's 3 times. The quickest thing to do, you can do it all in one step. $100 times 105%, that will give you an answer. Times 105% again, times 105% again. Now girls, 105% is 105 over 100, which is 1.05. Times 1.05 times 1.05. You know what this is? This is compound interest. Okay? So girls, the beauty of using this method of the 105% is 105 over 100, which is 1.05. That's why you can change the 105% to the 1.05. It's easier to enter on your calculator. Can someone give me an answer? And the answer, notice the answer is bigger than 115. Because if it was 115, that would be a 15% increase. So it's 115.76. Notice it's slightly bigger than 115. See, 5, 5, and 5 is 15. But your second 5% is on a bigger amount, and the next 5% increase is also on a bigger amount. Okay, just one final example with 3 percentage changes all in one. Increase $100 by 10%, then decrease that by 5%, and then increase that next answer by 7%. So we're starting with $100. We want to increase by 10%. So how do we do that? We times it by 110%. Then we want to decrease by 5%. Now 100 minus 5 is 95%, so we times by 95%. And then we want to increase this by 7% again. That's my third one. 100 plus 7 is 107%. Now, that's how we could do it all in one step. We know that that is the same as $100 times 110 over 100, which is 1.1, times 95 over 100, which is 0.95. It's 0.95 because 95 out of 100 is less than 1. Okay, so it's 0.95. And 107 divided by 100 is 1.07. Remember, when you divide by 100, you move the decimal place back 2 places. So therefore, we could do that whole question in one step. So if I work this out, 100 times 1.1 times 0.95 times 1.07, I get 111.815. So therefore the change here we can see is 111.815 minus 100, because we started with exactly $100. That's the beauty of using this method. So the change is $11.815. So therefore the percentage change, because it's out of 100 as well, the percentage change will be 11.815%. Or if you want to round it off to 1 decimal place, for example, 11.8. But you know what? Because this is an exact answer, that's really good to give. It's 11.815%. So therefore 11.815% increase would be the answer. Okay?